I have a 6-episode series over the next 6 weeks where we will be discussing sex in marriage. So do you want a great sex life in your marriage? Well, great sex in our marriage relationships is something that all of us want. So stay tuned, because in this video I'm going to share some knowledge and tips that I've learned through personal experience and in the counseling room over many years. For many couples, sex starts out as a home run. For some of those couples that choose to wait to have sex until marriage, for them, maybe there's a lot of home runs. But over time, life gets complicated. There's work and kids and all kinds of things that take our time and they take our energy. And far too often, sex gets put on the back burner. It's not like that burner is out, because the fire is still there, but the setting is on simmer instead of on high. And then there are expectations about sex. Going into marriage, we can have high expectations that sex will bring us a lot of fulfillment. We see it portrayed in the media, movies, TV, streaming. They're self-proclaimed experts who seem to have it all together in this area, and they offer their words of wisdom. And with all of this, we think we can have a good sexual relationship in marriage, and it's a slam dunk. But it's not. Couples struggle. They can struggle early in marriage or later in marriage. When we struggle, most of us have no idea how to get things back on the right track. Let alone do we know how to build something better than we ever imagined. I believe that God's plan for sex was designed for marriage. I believe it can be great for a lifetime. Sex is a gift from God. He's the one who created the sexual relationship. He's the one who made our bodies in a way that they fit perfectly together. A good sex life, it's like everything else in a good marriage. It takes work. It takes communication. It takes time and effort. It takes time and effort at the beginning of a marriage, and time and effort in every other stage that a marriage goes through. You know, looking back at our marriage at 20 and 22 years old, Nancy and I had so much to learn about each other, about life, and about sex. So I want to share with you a few of the things that I think we learned. We both thought about sex. I just thought about it a lot more. I learned that making her feel guilty so she would have sex work in the short term was so damaging for the long haul. We learned that in the first 5 years of marriage, we had a lot of time for sex, and when kids came, that we really had to be more intentional to make sex happen. I learned that a lock on our bedroom door was one of the best investments that I ever made. We learned that our sex drives were different, and that wasn't bad, but we had to learn how to navigate that. We learned what we liked, and we learned what we didn't like in sex. I had wider boundaries when thinking about things to do in sex, and I had to learn to stay at Nancy's comfort level. We learned that in certain seasons of life, we had to be very intentional or sex wasn't going to happen. We discovered that learning about each other and sex, it was going to be a lifelong project. So those are the things we learned. So what about you? What have the two of you learned? Think about this. What do you ask God what He wanted for you in the sex life in your marriage? What do you think God would say? You know, God's not a prude when it comes to sex and marriage. He invented it. It is His gift. He wants us to enjoy it. First step, talk about what you've learned. Second step, apply that knowledge to your sex life today. Third step, well, that's up to the two of you. Next week, I'm going to dive deeper into the benefits for your marriage that come with having a healthy sex life. So subscribe and like this video so you can tune in next week.